When most people imagine wartime shelters, they picture the usual things: heavy canvas tents, oil-soaked tarps, thick materials built to withstand the elements. But during World War II, as resources dwindled and armies were forced to stay light, fast, and constantly on the move, soldiers across Europe and the Pacific turned to something far more unexpected. They built their shelters out of paper. Yes, paper, but not the kind that melts in the rain or tears with a touch. This was a remarkable, specially treated, waterproof paper, born out of necessity. Tough enough to shed water, flexible enough to fold into almost any shape, and strong enough to survive in the harshest conditions. As the world sank deeper into war, shortages hit every front. Canvas went to uniforms, cotton went to medical supplies, rubber became gold. Armies needed an alternative, something that could be mass-produced, shipped in bulk, and carried by a single soldier without weighing him down. And strangely enough, paper became the answer. In Britain and Japan, engineers began experimenting with heavy craft paper soaked in paraffin wax, linseed oil, shellac and ether, that could seal the fibers and keep water out. The Japanese refined the idea using traditional washi, a mulberry-based paper coated with natural oils and lacquer. The result was oil paper cloth, and it changed everything. This material could do almost anything. It lined ammunition cases, wrapped maps, protected equipment, and most importantly, it became shelter. Soldiers used sheets of the stuff to build quick lean-tos, to cover their foxholes, to create makeshift tarps, ponchos, and ground cloths. British paratroopers carried folded oil paper sheets in their packs. Lightweight but durable. Marines in the Pacific lined their muddy dugouts with it to keep themselves dry. And when conditions turned brutal, sheets could be sewn or glued together with heated resin to create small. 2 men bivouacs juiced, enough shelter to stay alive through a storm. When the mission was over, the whole structure could be burned to prevent detection. Cheap, disposable, effective. The secret wasn't complicated. It came down to layering and saturation. Engineers used heavy fiber paper, sometimes reinforced with cotton or jute. They soaked it in melted wax, or a mix of oil and resin, letting the coating seep deep into the fibers and seal every microscopic gap. In North Africa, British troops even made their own in the field, melting paraffin candles, brushing hot wax between sheets of craft paper, and pressing them together with heated metal plates. In colder climates, they added linseed oil so the sheets wouldn't crack in freezing temperatures. The result was a shockingly resilient material. It could be folded again and again without tearing, and layered paper could resist rainfall for days. US military tests later showed that double-layered waxed sheets held up under more than 70 hours of continuous rain. Not bad for something made out of pulp, wax, and improvisation. Soldiers used it in every way imaginable. Drape it over rifles stuck in the ground, and you had a shelter. Slip it under your bedding, and you stayed dry. Line a foxhole. Wrap your gear, patch a hole. Block the wind. It was infinitely adaptable. And for soldiers on long-range patrols or reconnaissance missions, carrying nothing but what they could strap to their backs, these paper shelters became an essential piece of survival gear. Today, this forgotten wartime trick is more than just a curious footnote. It has a practical skill that anyone interested in preparedness or off-grid living can recreate with simple materials. With thick craft paper or parchment, a little melted paraffin or beeswax, and even a touch of linseed oil for flexibility, you can make your own waterproof sheets at home. Coat the paper, press it with warmth. Let the wax or oil soak deep into the fibers, and suddenly you have a durable, foldable, water-resistant material. Layer a few sheets together, and you can build emergency tarps, ground covers, or simple shelters just like the soldiers did decades ago. The brilliance of this wartime invention lies in its simplicity. It shows how, even when traditional supplies disappear, ingenuity can fill the gap. It's a reminder that resilience doesn't always come from advanced technology or expensive equipment. Sometimes it comes from knowledge, improvisation, and the willingness to adapt. The same principles that protected soldiers in the mud and rain of World War II still apply today. Outdoor enthusiasts use oil paper wraps for cooking and waterproofing. Preppers can rely on it as a lightweight, renewable alternative to plastic. Off-grid builders can use it to seal roofs, insulate walls, or protect gear from the elements. And maybe the most important lesson is this: The world is full of forgotten techniques, small innovations that once kept people alive, warm, dry, and moving forward. The waterproof paper shelter was one of them. A quiet hero of wartime logistics and survival. It kept men alive when their canvas ran out, when their gear wore down, when resources vanished. It proved that the simplest materials, properly understood, can become powerful tools. If this kind of rediscovered ingenuity inspires you, don't let the knowledge fade again. Share it, practice it, and pass it on so that the lessons of the past continue to guide those preparing for the future.